going on? Blossom is back, and welcome back to another episode of South Drives. Today I'm doing something a little different. Usually I like to review a pack and tell you which are the cars that you can get from that pack which are worth keeping around and are hot garbage. I'm still going to do that, but before I do that, I want to talk about tunes. Something I've never done before. Let me know down in the comments below if you like this kind of series or not. So the pack in question today is going to be the 2010 or 2010s GE carbon fiber. These packs are out right now because these are the cars that you need to compete for the quadrifoglio, the Stelvio quadrifoglio. I'm saying this in quotation marks because at the end of the day, with the inclusion of prize cars, these cars are not going to win you the Stelvio quadrifoglio alone. I'm sorry, I hate to break it to you, but that's just the truth. When you want to win, if you want to win the Stelvio quadrifoglio, you're going to need prize cars. You're going to need the Aero Aston 500 or the Senna or the Vulcan or what are the other prize cars that you can use? Those really are the three main ones, I think, the Atom, the Senna, and the Vulcan. So if you have all three, or at least two out of three, you'd have a good chance of winning the Stelvio. The whole prize car situation kind of breaks it up, especially since that the Stelvio quadrifoglio is only going out to the top 3 players in the bracket instead of the usual top 10. So with that being said, I'm not going to do a video where I tell you what the best possible hand is, because the best possible hand, to be completely honest, includes prize cars. I might do a beginner's version where I use like ultra rares and below, but for now, we're going to be talking about what car is what tune. What is going to be the name of this series? What car is what tune? I don't know. How to tune each car from the 2010s GE carbon fiber. So as you can see, we have 3 different options. We have 233 or 699, 323 969, 332 996. If you're going to be saying, Blossom, how about 789, 897, all that kind of stuff? I don't upgrade my cars that way, so I don't have the knowledge to know if those I guess ways are better than your conventional 699, 969, and 996. So without further ado, let's get into it, starting us off with all the Aston Martins. So these first 3 Aston Martins are going to be 699. Now the Virage Volante, now this one's pretty interesting. Personally, now this is going to be my personal opinion, I'm going to put it at 996. Why? Is because it has an incredibly low 0 to 60, 4.4. Now it doesn't have good MRA, but it doesn't have trash MRA better. It's going to lose to the TVRs, it's going to lose to the BTRs, it's going to lose to the Charger 3. That being said though, all those cars, besides the TVR tomorrow I guess, are hardtops. This one's a convertible, so that's a little bit of a niche. You're not going to be using the Aston Martin Virage Volante that often. I'm going to be real with you, but for my first one, I would 332 it. I do have one, and I have it 332, and I do believe that it is 3.5 0 to 60, somewhere around that range. And as you can see, it has the lowest 0 to 60 compared to the Rapide S, the Rapide Bertone Jet, and the Aston Martin Rapide. Really, what I'm doing with this car is that I'm identifying its, like, I guess, strength. It also has a high top speed, and I'm kind of just investing all in that direction. So the next one I'm going to go for is the Bentley Grand Convertible. That's going to be 699, and that's going to be the same for all of the Bentleys over here. So I'm just going to drag them all. I guarantee you this is going to be funny because, like, I know that there's always going to be people wondering what car is going to be what, but to be honest, at the end of the day, the majority of the cars are going to be under 699. I guess this is just a really detailed way to show everything. So the next one is going to be the Jaguar XJ 5.0 V8. Now this one, the first one, I'm going to 969. If you want a 699 the Jaguar, it means it's going to be dry spec, a car that you want to use in dry tracks, which why would you? Because it has standard tires. So for the wet, I would go 969. I have 2 of them, 969. They have served me pretty well, so I'm going to put them in that category, alongside with the Discovery as well as the Opel Adam R2. The Opel Adam R2 is a car that you can use on road, and it's a car, maybe if you get a second one, you can 699 if you want, but for me, personally, I only use it in the off-road events and clubs when it's front-wheel drive, and that is going to be 969 all the way. Next up is the Opel OPC Extreme. That's going to be 699. Now, this one's a pretty interesting one. I've seen a lot of people 969 or 323 the Opel OPC Extreme. Personally, I would go 699. It's one of those cars where it's kind of like a 60-40. The 969 does win like the hairpin and the slalom, but the Opel OPC Extreme does win on 699 on most of the other track sets. Now, next up is the Range Rover Evoke. That's going to be 969 alongside with all the Range Rovers, really. None of these Range Rovers are really worthy to 996, just because, I mean, I guess it's kind of out there when I mentioned the Trailblazer, the G63, but at the end of the day, all these Range Rovers are incredibly heavy and they don't really have a lot of MRA, so personally, I don't think it's worth 996ing any of the Range Rovers, although none of them handle. At the end of the day, they're just hot garbage. That's what they are. They're just hot garbage. So that's it. That's all for the ultra rares. So not a lot of ultra rares in this pack. It's a huge pack though, but most of the weight is going into legendaries and epics. So let's get into it. Starting us off with the Aston Martin CC100, that's going to be 699. I've seen a couple people 996 it because it has a 100 MRA, and I think it's fair. If you get a second one, maybe you want to 996 it, that's fine. But for a first choice, it's 699 all the way. Let's not forget that it will hit 98 handling. Next up is the Aston Martin DB10. That's also going to be 699, alongside with, well, just about every single Aston Martin over here. So we're going to move up the list. Now this one, the Aston Martin Vanquish Volante. Now this one's pretty interesting. I feel like this is a car that you can 996 and actually get away with it, just because the 0 to 60 is low, right? It's actually lower than the CC100. The MRA is decent. It's not as good as the CC100, but it's in the high 80s. I'm pretty sure it's like 87, 88, something around those lines. And the handling on the Vanquish Volante actually isn't even that good. 86 makes it lower than the DB10 or the CC100 or even the Zagato. This is a car that, you know, if you 996 it, I wouldn't be opposed to that. But at the end of the day, it is an epic, and for me personally, I went 233 or 699. But if you want to 996 this Vanquish, I would say it's a 50-50 for this car. You can either 996 or 699. You'd be fine either way. Next up is the Aston Martin Virage. That's going to be 969. And of course, the Bentayga Diesel is going to be 969. Sorry, this is 699. This is 969. It's going to be a lot of 9s and a lot of 6s said in this video. Now, next up is the Bentley Continental GT. Now, the Bentley Continental GTs, this is where it gets interesting because they have four-wheel drive. They are capable of being used in the wet, and usually when it comes to ultra rares and some epics, if you want to put a car in the wet, you want to 323 it. It's you know, it's a bit of a gray area when it comes to epics and 323 and 233 when it comes to four-wheel drive standard tire cars, because it really depends on the epic. There are cars like the Jaguar I-Pace, which I would really go for 233, but then there are cars like the Cadillac CT6, which I'll go for 323. It's a little bit hazy, I would say, but for the end of the day, for the Bentley Continentals, although you can make an argument for 969, me personally, I would go for 699. I have the Bentley Continental GT, the one over here, RQ79, and mine personally is 699. I remember I had to max it out for the Bugatti Chiron Sport Finals, which was like a year and a half ago now, more than a year and a half ago now, and I was so torn apart with either doing it 969 or 699. I eventually went 699, and I think it paid off. So for that sense, I'm going with all the Bentleys in the same category for 699. Same with the red convertible as well. Now this one's gonna be pretty interesting, the Bentley Flying Spur, because the Bentley Flying Spur, not only is it four-wheel drive like the other Bentleys, it also has medium ground clearance. So it really comes down to what you want to use it on. If you only want to use it specifically on medium wet, I would make a case, just because on this car in particular it's a lower tier epic, I would make a case to put it at 969. The thing is, this thing is hot garbage, and nobody is going to upgrade the Bentley Flying Spur anyway. I don't know much about this car, to be completely honest with you, the Bentley Flying Spur. I'm gonna put it in 969 just because it's a lower tier epic, so I might think that its performance might kind of skew towards more of the ultra rare ranks. And like I said, if you only want to use it for wet city streets, I would 969 it. Now the Bentley Flying Spur V8, I can't put it there. I can't put it there. I mean, it's like one track. At the end of the day, these are cars that you can also, I guess, kind of put on dry city streets. I don't know why you would want to, because the Jaguar XJ 575 exists. This is what happens when it comes to dealing with hot garbage cars. It's really hard to determine how you want to max it, because in a realistic standpoint, you're not going to max it. So if nobody maxes it, then there's very little people that actually have experiences with it. My gut tells me at the end of the day, I think I should put it in 699. But I think if it was in a wet city street setting, that this Bentley would be better 969. But I'm not going to spend too much time harping on this Flying Spur, because at the end of the day, it's hot garbage. Not a lot of people are going to invest in it anyway. So I'm going to put all of them at 699. Now the next one is Jaguar XF Project 7. This one's going to be 996. It has amazing MRI. I think it's in around 100. So it's really, really good. It's kind of like the British version of one of the Spikers. I forgot what the model name is, and of course the Mercedes CLK DTM. So it's a fantastic car, great MRA. The 0 to 60 is, you know, relatively low, not as low as its competitors, but like I said, when it comes to GE, it's kind of one of its own. That's a 996 car. Next is the I-Pace. The I-Pace is an interesting one. I would go I-Pace on the 699 route. I know a lot of people that have the 969 I-Pace. I know a lot of people that have a 699 I-Pace. Personally, in my opinion, I would go with the 699 I-Pace. My I-Pace is 699. Next up is the Jaguar XJ, that's going to be 699, and the 575 is also going to be 699. It's just going to be crazy. All the cars literally are going to be 699, and it's going to be like a little bit. They're just a little bit, a fraction that's going to be 969. Next up is the Jaguar XJR 175 and the XJR 75. Now the XJR 75, this one's actually pretty interesting. I'm going to put it in 996 because it has a lower 0 to 60 to the 175, and the Jaguar XKR 75 has an MRA of 97. Now let's bear in mind that this is a car that doesn't handle at all. Like, it has no handling, so even if you 996 it, it's going to hit about 92 handling. That's not going to get you very far. It's going to lose to cars like the DB10 and the Zagato. So in my opinion, I want to make use of the 97 MRA and that 170 plus top speed. That's going to be a 996 car in my opinion. Next up on the list is going to be the Rover, and that's going to be 969. It just feels good to put a car in, you know, a category that isn't 699, because you know that most of the cars are going to fall under the first one. Next one is the Lotus Elise Cup. Now this is pretty obvious. Every single Lotus is going to go here. Actually, this one's pretty interesting because, you know what, no, it's going to go there. It handles well and it has good MRA. The Evoras are actually pretty interesting because they have good MRA for now at least, and you can really make use of that MRA, and I guess really high top speed on the 400, 186. You can make use of that. I have seen Evora 400s 996 and they are really good. But at the end of the day, you know, they are still lightweight cars. They still handle incredibly well. If I had to max the Lotuses, the first one, and if I only had one, I would go 699 over 996. I have to say though, for the Evora 400, if you do get a second one, 996 would be a pretty good place to put it. Next up is the Dynamic, that's going to be 969, and the Vauxhall Insignia VXR Unlimited. I mean, this one's pretty interesting. I'm actually going to put it 699. I just feel like the statistics on this car is just so bad that it kind of translates better to being an ultra rare. But then again, when it comes to ultra rares, most of them you want a 233 or 699 anyway. Oh, this one's tough. This one's just another Bentley Flying Spur situation. It's just so bad, you don't know what to do with it. I guess we'll put it at 699 just because it has performance tires and it doesn't have standard tires. I feel like if it was like a four-wheel drive standard tire car that was, you know, low in Epic RQ, like for example, this RQ65 Mercedes, then I would put it in 699, but that doesn't have standard tires. That's the problem, so I'm going to put it in 699. So anyway, let's move on to the legendaries now. So, oh my goodness, well, we're just going to be in this same avenue for the longest of times. The DBS Superleggere. Now this one's pretty interesting. This is a car that, once again, you can make an argument for this to be 996. Make use of that 105 MRA, relatively low 0 to 60, incredibly high top speed. But like I said, I've talked about this car in the past in my top 3 best and worst RQs. It's, you know, it goes over 100 handling and you want to make use of that. So at the end of the day, I would go 699. The same with the Volante version as well. I would 699 that, and the Vanquish S, and the Vanquish Zagato, and the Aston Martin Vantage. It's just, they're all gonna be 699. It makes me feel weird because I'm just like, why am I even making this video if most of the cars are gonna be 699? But I know if I didn't make this video, I'm going to get a lot of questions of, oh, Blossom, I opened this pack, what should I tune this car? What should I tune this car? It's one of the most, you know, one of the most frequent questions I get. How do I tune such car? And that's why I think that this video is going to be pretty helpful. If anything, it will serve as a reassurance to everyone that may think, oh, this car is going to be 699. Well, this is going to reassure you that this car should be 699 or 969 or 996 in my opinion. So moving on now, we have the 2 Bentegas. These things are hot garbage. I don't know why you would ever max them, but they're going to be 323. And then we go on with the Bentleys. Now the Bentleys, once again, why would you ever max these cars? But at the end of the day, I would 233 every single one of them, especially the Continental GT3. So we're all going to put them under the same list. Now, can you imagine if I did like the ratings, like rating the pack and which cars are great and bad? Like every single Bentley here is going to go under the hot garbage pile besides like the Continental GT3. It's going to be hilarious. Jaguar CX75s, I know a lot of people that have these max 233 all the way. F-Pace SVR. Now this is actually pretty interesting. Honestly, I kind of want to put it in 996 because it has a strong MRA. 0 to 60 isn't very strong. You know, I'll put it here. You know what? Even the Bentegas, you can say 996 might be viable actually. The problem is the Bentegas, they don't have MRA, but they don't handle as well. They're just absolutely hot garbage. You know what? Just because it has a low 0 to 60, I'm going to put this down to 996. That being said though, it has no MRA. This car has absolutely no MRA whatsoever. So even if you want a 996 it, it's probably going to lose to the 1 mile to the Bentayga diesel. The Bentayga diesel, actually, now thinking about it, I'm going to move you down to 996 as well because you are a beast. Moving on now, the Lotus 311, I'm going to put that at 699, and same with every other Lotus in existence. I have to say though, all these Lotus, they all have great MRA. So honestly, I don't know if I would 996 any of them per se, because all of them can hit like 100 handling or 99, you know. The McLaren 12C, you're going there. All the McLarens are going under, and you guessed it, 699. So boom, 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 and then we're left off with 2 all-surface tire cars, which are gonna go under 233. But at the end of the day, this is going to be it. Yeah, it's pretty obvious. Most of the cars in this pack are going to be 699. 969, basically all the all-surface tire, off-road tire cars, standard tire cars. It's actually pretty interesting to see. There are about 91 unique cars. I think 91, no, 86, 91 if you include price cars. So there are 86 unique cars that you can get from this pack, and there's literally only one standard tire car. Can you believe that? There are a bunch of 4-wheel drives, but there's only one standard tire car. I think that's insane. And then for 332, I got a couple of hot takes over here. You might disagree with me on the, the Jaguar XJ 75, or maybe even the Bentley Bentayga diesel, but these are cars which I feel like if you 332 wouldn't let you down that much. I would say that if I made this series for like an American pack, it would be more, I guess, diverse, because I would say that American packs, they usually have more off-roaders, so there's going to be more 323s. They have a bunch of dragsters, which I can put 332, but for this literal pack, this is how I would tune every car. So if you ever needed any reassurance on how to max the car that you've gotten from this pack, you can always refer to this video. But once again, this is completely my opinion. This is how I would upgrade the cars if I got them from my packs and if I had to max them. The only reason why I would max a Bentley is if I had a gun pointed at my head. Like if I was held at gunpoint, then maybe, just maybe, I would think about it. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know if you like this series, if you found it helpful or not. Once again, for most of the episodes that I would make if I had to continue this series, it's gonna look like this. Most of the cars are going to be 699. But anyway, I hope you guys have a great day. I'm gonna stay safe, wash your hands, and blossom out. Peace.